If you're interested in the topic, so far we filmed a review of the SKS rifle, and then we broke the disassembly down into 3 parts. The first part, just taking the rifle apart. The second part we had was the bolt disassembly in detail. And now the third part that we're filming today, we are going to clean up all the parts here and reassemble the rifle from, I guess, the last part that we took off back to the very first part that you would remove from the rifle. We've cleaned up already the butt plate. That's going to be the first piece to go back on. I'm going to put my gloves on here so that I don't mess anything up as I'm going. You don't want to have any acid from your hands on the metal parts because that can cause corrosion. So you make sure that you handle them this way, and then when I screw the butt plate back on, I won't have any issues with that. So I'm going to take one more drink of coffee and then we'll get into this. I'm just going to take my rag and do one last cleaning over this. Make sure again that there's no handling, fingers that have touched it. Then when we go to put this on, you can see the shape of it. It's a little bit smaller down here than it is up here at the top, so that's easy to match up with your stock. This here is obviously your thinner end, your wider end, so that's just going to go on over top of there, like so. But first, we have to put the little door on, the spring-loaded door. This here has a little spring in it, you can see there, and the hole up here at the top goes over top of that screw hole there, and then you just try to line it up as best you can evenly, and it's going to cover the circle out here now, and that's your door for your cleaning kit to go in. Going to make sure that there's no handle marks on any of this stuff. These components, once they're cleaned up the first time, probably never get into here again on your rifle. There should be no reason to. So I just want to make sure that everything's coated well and clean. So with that lined up nicely, we're going to put this on. I'll start with that end there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we get our screws. There's our other one. And you'll need a straight blade screwdriver for this. It's the only component, I believe, on the whole rifle where you need a screwdriver. And this would not be part of the ordinary field strip. Because again, there's just no reason really to be going in here at all. So we'll tighten that down decently on either end. And there we have the butt plate back on. Next, we're going to dig into the cleaning kit here, show you the components and clean those all up. We're going to pull this apart. There's the cap. The cap becomes the guide for your rod. I'll show you that once it's all cleaned up, because I can't clean the barrel of the rifle until I get these parts all cleaned up. They're caked full of cosmoline. So I'm going to spend a couple minutes, get this all cleaned out, and then we'll come back and assemble the cleaning kit, and I'll show you how to use it. After a few spins of that, it seems to be coming out pretty clean there now. Same thing for the guide cap. Try to get down in here and get all of that cosmoline out. So the two parts there now that hold the cleaning kit, those are now cleaned out. I'm going to switch over to mineral spirits here for a minute because it seems we're running out of WD-40. And I got to get something on this little brush. Here's the cleaning brush. That looks better. Okay, components of the cleaning kit are now cleaned up. And we're going to put this thing together. First we're going to need the cleaning rod out of here. Okay, to get the cleaning rod out, we're going to take the bayonet and just do that with it. And then there should be enough play in here to pull the rod out. There, once the bayonet's loose, that'll just come out of its little housing there. And we've got to clean that obviously before we clean the bore. So to assemble the cleaning kit, we're going to start with this here compartment that all the components come in. Take the large hole here on this side and slide it up over your cleaning rod until it reaches the far end. Once up here, you're going to line it up, the hole here with the hole in the rod here. And we're going to grab this here piece and we can put that through to hold it now in place. Okay, there we have it. Next, we're going to take the guide cap. That's going to go over the crown of the barrel to keep us from rubbing the crown with the rod as we clean. So that slides on. And then after that, we would put on our cleaning brush. Now in this case, the barrel's full of cosmoline, so I just want to run something down it, some patches first to get that grease out. So I'll go with this here piece first. I'm going to close the bayonet. We'll put our patch in, and then we're going to push on that, there, and then we're going to put our guide cap on. Okay, and then the guide cap locks into place over here with a twist, and then we can run our first patch down through the barrel safely. I'm going to do that a few times and push all the grease out that I can. Since most of the grease now I think is out of the barrel, I'll go with some bore cleaner. We'll run this down the bore a couple times. The inside of the barrel is now cleaned, and these happen to have a really nice chrome lined barrel on them, which protects against corrosion. So again, awesome feature of the SKS and the quality of them. Okay, to store this cleaning kit and make sure that nothing in here rusts, I'm just going to spray that down with the Remington dry lube again, all on the inside of these components. I like to cover all these surfaces inside and out. And then that protects from any moisture that might get in there. Okay, so we drop our 3 pieces back in here. There's a little nub right there. That's what locks your cap in place. So our cleaning kit now is set. And this can be put back into the buttstock with the cap facing outward. And then just pop it in place. And we've got now the butt plate on and the cleaning kit back in place. Now we've got to clean up the outside of the barrel and the action back here. As the bullet pushes the gases down the barrel, some of those gases come up through here through a little hole, and this is what pushes the piston back. So make sure when you're cleaning your barrel and action that you get in here and clean the grease out of there really well. All kinds of cosmoline coming out of that spot. Okay, to clean the hole out inside this little gas tube component, I'm going to try using my pipe cleaner and see if I can get it to go down in here. had it there a minute ago. There it is. So that's going to pull the grease out of that spot. So we've cleaned out here where the gas comes in from the barrel to activate the piston. The next important part to clean out is back here underneath the sight. There's this cavity in here where the small piston goes. So the large piston in the SKS, the gases push it back from that come up through here, pushes the large piston back. The large piston then pushes back on a spring-loaded piston that sits inside this cavity here underneath the back sight. And so I have to get some things in there to try to clear out that channel really well. There you can see the cosmoline coming out of there. Okay, after that, the rest of the action is just surface cleaning that you have to do, and then we'll be ready to put the action and the barrel back into the stock. Okay, we've got the barrel and action cleaned up really well, and what I really want to make sure that's sprayed with this Remington dry lube is all on the bottom part of the barrel where that's going to sit into the stock, because we're not going to be touching this likely again for quite some time. And so you want to make sure that your handprints and everything are off of it, and then you spray that down really well, and then you won't get any rust issues on the underside of your barrel once it's down in the stock. And that's our next thing to do. So what we need to do to get this back in the stock, first thing is we're going to loosen the bayonet. While the bayonet is open, we can put our cleaning rod back in. And it just slides through this little hole here. Comes down through that. The cleaning rod clicks in the end right up here. Okay, with that done, then you can open up your bayonet fully. Okay, bayonet is now open, cleaning rod is in. And when you go to put this back in the stock, you're going to put this little lip here inside of this metal piece under the barrel. Okay, so that catches in there. And then you're just going to swing the rest of this down into place, like so. And then push it down tight. Then it sits down tight into the stock. There. Action and barrel now in place. We're going to flip the rifle over. And the next component to go in is the magazine. I'll just take a minute to clean the magazine inside and out, spray it down, and then we'll put this in place. Okay, with your rifle upside down, I've got it situated on some blocks here. The magazine is going to go into here and fits right up against where the cutout is. There's a little spot down in here where the front of the magazine catches, a little metal square piece that's down in there. It's probably pretty hard to see here on our camera, but the magazine has a little cutout right there at the front of it, and that's going to come down in here and fit in place. Then you have to push this part of the magazine down that it sits in there nice and tight. And you heard that snap into place. Now the magazine's in there. Next piece we're going to move on to is the trigger group. So I have to take some time and clean this up. I'll use my toothbrush to go all over those springs. Trigger assembly is actually one of the harder pieces on here to clean. I'm not even sure how to get down into some parts of this. Unless I have the expertise to lighten the trigger on this, I wouldn't want to get into taking this here all apart, so we're going to just do our best here to get some Q-tips down in here into some of the spaces and clean this up. I don't think there's anything down here that would prevent the functioning of the rifle, even if there is a little bit of cosmoline in some of the trigger assembly. Okay, I just sprayed the Remington dry lube over all of this because once this goes back into place, a lot of these components are hidden up in the stock. And so again, just to prevent corrosion, we coat everything. But I'm also going to take a little bit of just Remington gun oil here in this can and go over some of these parts, just on the chance that it makes anything go a bit smoother in there. Okay, now we're about to put the trigger group back in. I can try to show it on the camera. There's a little hook right there on either side that pin slides down into, right in there. And then there again would be your magazine catch. Now, you want to brace your rifle again on some blocks so that you're not pushing down on the front sight. When you go to put your trigger assembly back in or take it out, make sure that your safety lever is in the on position. That's important. You're not going to get this latch to work back here. There's a little metal bar there we have to push this into. It won't allow you to do it if your safety's off. So you put your safety on and then give it a good push, and there it is, snapped into place. And then here's the magazine. Now we can turn our rifle over. Okay, the next component that we have to put in is the small piston and spring that go in here underneath the sight in this little tube in there. We've cleaned that all out. I've just got to quickly clean up these here components, and then we'll oil them down and we'll get them slid into place. For the springs, I'll keep using my toothbrush. So we'll slide that back through here again. You got to have this here up quite high in the forward position. And then this here will slide in. And I've got to get some tension on that, get it pushed back in there, and then push that down some to clip it. Once again, you could probably use one of the rounds from the SKS to go and drive on that, but I think I'll use something else here. There. Alright, and it's held in once you push back down on that piece there. So, small pistons in there. I think at this time I'll put in just a little bit of the gun oil. The main piston. I'm going to find where that is. I think the cat knocked it off the table. There's the piston. So I got these wooden dowels here from the dollar store, I think it was, and Leo's got these in his little craft bin upstairs. So they should work really well for this. I've sprayed some WD-40 inside of the gas tube, and I've got a few patches here, and now we're just going to try using the wooden dowel to drive these down through the gas tube. Let's just try one here. There we go. That. We won't pull that back through. That looks pretty greasy. Here's another little trick. You just roll up a piece of paper towel, spray it with some of your WD-40, drive that into the gas tube until it's all the way in. And then I'll take the wooden dowel. Again, this is what's good about having this, that you can't damage anything with it, and you drive that down in there, and then you can start twisting that with some force to get all the grease from the inside of that tube. It just happened that my wooden dowel is the right size to clean out these little ports on either side of the gas tube. So this is the gas tube and piston here. It's all been cleaned up well. We just have to slide the piston in through the large diameter hole and push that until it goes in there. Can't hurt. To put your gas tube on, you're going to take the hole here in the front of the gas tube and put it on right here where the gas has come up through the barrel. That just fits in over top of that. And then here at the back, this has to push down. So you need to bring this to about 90 degrees. There. And then the gas tube snaps into place. And then this here snaps back down. We'll use our round for this. There's a little divot here that you can grab hold of. There. Okay, gas tube's on. Next, we're getting into the bolt and charging handle. Just to make this a little bit less unwieldy, before we go on in the assembly, put the spike bayonet back down into place. Next, we have the bolt, and this we cleaned up on the previous segment here of our video, of our three-part series. So if you want to go back and take a look at, an in-depth look at the bolt and firing pin and how you disassemble and reassemble this part's all done for us. As well, I did the charging handle there previously. So this fits together with the little cutout there on the charging handle, fits neatly into the groove there on the bolt. And then both of these sit down here and they run along this channel that's cut right in here for the charging handle. Just gotta wiggle this into place. There. So there, that side's now forward and those two pieces are connected. The main spring is next. Yeah, that's probably your best method there, is with a toothbrush. Anyway, if there is grease here on the main spring, I don't think that would really affect anything in the operation of the firearm either. Okay, I got that as cleaned up as I can. Main spring goes in next. It goes with the curvy end going forward, and it just goes right in here into the back of the charging handle. There's a clear channel for that to just fall right into place there. And then lastly, your dust cover goes on. Once your spring is in there, make sure your latch here is all the way out, and then your end of your dust cover here, it just butts up against the spring and it goes in just underneath the charging handle there on either side. You push that forward and then you push your pin in, and then your pin goes down to lock it into place. The SKS is finished. I think it turned out really awesome. We did a stock refinishing with the artwork and then a 3-part disassembly and reassembly. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope my customer likes the rifle. You can see the care that I take in working on these. So should anybody be interested, give us a message in the comments, and maybe we could work something out if you would like this type of thing done for your SKS.